Kimi Raikkonen is my favorite F1 driver, the source of endless memes and endless wins. Today we're breaking down just how good he really was. From his battles with Alonso in 2003 to his NASCAR Exile, we're leaving no stone unturned. Born on October 17, 1979 in Espoo, Finland, Kimi grew up in a modest household. His father, Matti, was a road builder, and his mother, Paula, worked in an office. Money was tight, and the family made sacrifices to support Kimi's love for racing. Starting karting at the age of 10, Kimi competed with outdated equipment, but still managed to win local competitions. A breakthrough came when he dominated the Finnish Junior Karting Championship and later finished second in the 1999 European Formula Super A Championship, cementing his reputation as a young talent to watch. In 2000, Kimi took a huge step forward when he moved to Formula Renault in the UK. Despite minimal experience in single-seaters, his performance was extraordinary. Competing in the British Formula Renault Championship with Manor Motorsport, he won 7 out of the 10 races that season. That caught the attention of several Formula 1 teams, and Sauber in particular, known for scouting young talent. Although he only had 23 races under his belt, Kimi was invited by Sauber for a test session in Mugello in September 2000. During this test, he impressed the team with his ability to quickly acclimate to the demands of a Formula 1 car. Even with the neck pain from the physical demands of driving a Formula 1 car, he improved by 3 seconds over 3 days of testing. As a result, Sauber offered him a race seat for the 2001 season. Sauber's decision raised skepticism, as at just 21 years old, he had far less experience than most F1 rookies. Despite doubts from figures like FIA President Max Mosley, Sauber trusted Kimi's potential. Eventually, the FIA granted him a 4-race probationary license to prove his worth. Sauber's decision paid off immediately. At the 2001 Australian Grand Prix, he qualified 13th, just 3 spots behind his much more experienced teammate Nick Heidfeld. In the race, he maintained a steady performance and secured 7th place, mainly due to others' errors. After a post-race penalty to Oliver Pani, Kimi was promoted to 6th, scoring a championship point on his debut. At the San Marino Grand Prix, he outqualified his teammate Heidfeld for the first time, lining up 10th on the grid. During the race, he ran as high as 7th, holding his own against drivers in faster cars. Unfortunately, a steering wheel failure forced him to retire, highlighting the technical challenges Sauber faced that year. Nevertheless, Kimi's strongest performance came at circuits where driver's skill could make up for car limitations. In Canada, he qualified an impressive 7th and finished 4th, just behind the dominant Ferraris and Williams cars. This was a remarkable achievement given Sauber's mid-tier status. Statistically, Kimi ended the season with 9 points, finishing 10th in the Drivers' Championship. While Heidfeld scored slightly more points, 12, Kimi's raw speed and consistency often matched or exceeded his teammates. His performances in 2001 helped Sauber secure 4th place in the Constructors' Championship, catching the attention of McLaren boss Ron Dennis. By the end of the year, Kimi had signed with McLaren to replace his fellow Finn and 2-time world champion, Mika Häkkinen, marking the start of his rise as one of the sport's most promising talents. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. We're trying to hit 5,000 subs before F1 season begins. In 2002, McLaren was a top team. Kimi started the season strong with a podium finish at the Australian Grand Prix, his very first race for the team. Qualifying 5th, he showed his class by overtaking teammate David Coulthard during the race and finishing 3rd behind Michael Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. However, mechanical failures were quite frequent this season and led to 11 race retirements out of the 17 races. Despite this, Kimi managed to claim 4 podium finishes, including a brilliant drive at the French Grand Prix where he narrowly missed out on a victory to Schumacher. Leading the race in its latter stages, he ran over a patch of oil on the track, left by Alan McNish's Toyota following an engine failure. Michael Schumacher, capitalizing on this opportunity, overtook Räikkönen to take the lead and ultimately win the race. Nevertheless, by the end of the season, Kimi finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship with 24 points, just 17 points behind his more experienced teammate Coulthard. The 2003 season was an absolute breakout for Kimi. McLaren introduced the MP417D, an evolution over their 2002 car, and it proved to be more competitive. Kimi opened his season with a victory at the Malaysian Grand Prix, his first ever win in Formula 1. Starting 7th on the grid, he showed remarkable pace and composure, leading the majority of the race to finish 39 seconds ahead of Rubens Barrichello. The Japanese Grand Prix was not only the season finale, but also the stage for an intense fight between Kimi Raikkonen and Michael Schumacher for the World Championship. One of the key elements that added complexity to this race was the mid-year change in tire regulations. Earlier in 2003, the FIA ruled that tire tread widths must be measured in their unused state, rather than post-race. This seemingly minor adjustment had significant repercussions. Michelin, which supplied tires to McLaren and other leading teams, had designed their rubber to expand slightly during races, providing better grip as they warmed up. Kimi was stuck just 2 points behind Michael Schumacher in the championship fight. When the race began, Kimi stormed through the field, overtaking competitors with calculated aggression. By lap 10, he had worked his way into podium contention. Schumacher, on the other hand, endured a chaotic race. On the opening lap, he collided with Takuma Sato's BAR and had a near miss with his brother Ralf Schumacher later. The race entered its final stages when Räikkönen realized he would take second place. At the same time, Ferrari's Rubens Barrichello was in commanding form, leading the race and acting as the perfect buffer for Schumacher. Räikkönen pushed hard, but the limitations of his car and the revised Michelin tires became apparent. Although his efforts were heroic, he couldn't quite catch Barrichello, who crossed the line to take the win. Meanwhile, Schumacher's recovery drive saw him finish 8th, just enough to secure the single point needed to win the championship. In the end, engine failures and other issues forced Kimi to retire from 3 races, while controversial tire rule change mid-season also played into Ferrari's hands. 2003 season earned him a nickname, the Iceman. That nickname, given to him by his former team boss Ron Dennis, accurately defines Kimi Raikkonen's identity in F1. He is a man of few words, instead of doing his talking on the track. In 2004, the MP419 model also struggled with reliability and pace, limiting Kimi's results. The MP419 was originally conceived as an evolution of the MP418, which had been a failed experimental car in 2003. Despite high hopes, the MP419 inherited many of its predecessor's flaws. The chief among these were serious aerodynamic inefficiencies and chronic cooling problems. The latter issue was particularly debilitating, causing frequent engine overheating and catastrophic failures during races. While rival teams like Ferrari and Renault were delivering cars that balanced speed and reliability, McLaren fell short. The Ferrari F2004, in particular, was a masterpiece of engineering, and the gap between McLaren and Ferrari widened significantly. So how did this affect Kimi's success? Raikkonen's season began with a string of retirements due to engine blowouts, including dramatic failures at races such as Bahrain and Germany. These engine issues were so severe that they became almost symbolic of McLaren's struggles that year. Despite these problems, the team introduced the MP419B in the middle of the season, a heavily revised version of the car, which gave Räikkönen a fighting chance. At the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa-Francorchamps, Räikkönen delivered one of the standout performances of the season. Räikkönen's masterful driving and the improved MP419B enabled him to claim his first and only victory of the season. McLaren finished 5th in the Constructors' Championship, a disappointing result for a team that had been a consistent title contender in previous years. Räikkönen ended the season with just 45 points, a stark contrast to Michael Schumacher's dominant tally of 148 points in Ferrari. You would think this was the low point for Kimi. Think again. The 2005 season would have been Kimi's year. McLaren introduced the MP420, one of the fastest cars ever built. Räikkönen won 7 races that season, including dominant performances in Spain, Monaco, and Japan. His qualifying lap at Suzuka, which saw him start 17th on the grid and charge through the field to win the race, remains one of the greatest drives in F1 history. Despite having the fastest car, Kimi suffered from multiple mechanical problems, forcing him to retire from 4 races and take grid penalties in others. Those points would prove to be crucial in his Drivers' Championship battle with Fernando Alonso. At the end of the season, Alonso, despite driving a slower but more reliable Renault, won the title, capitalizing on Kimi's misfortunes to win. Statistically, 2005 was still an incredible year for Räikkönen. He claimed 7 wins, 5 pole positions, and 10 fastest laps, more than any other driver that season. By the end of the season, Kimi finished 2nd in the championship, just 21 points behind Alonso. Kimi's final year with McLaren was a series of setbacks. As if there wasn't enough of those already, the team struggled to keep up with Renault and Ferrari, and the MP421 was both slower and less reliable than his predecessor. Räikkönen finished 5th in the Drivers' Championship with 65 points, a far cry from his title-contending seasons. By the end of 2006, Michael Schumacher, Ferrari's longtime icon and 7-time world champion, had announced his retirement. This left the Scuderia in search of a driver capable of carrying forward their competitive edge. Räikkönen was an obvious choice. As 2005 and 2006 seasons demonstrated his ability to challenge for championships even in less reliable cars, Räikkönen was seen as the perfect successor to Schumacher. Moreover, McLaren's internal dynamics played a significant role in Kimi Raikkonen's decision to leave. The team's disciplined, corporate approach under Ron Dennis clashed with Räikkönen's relaxed, no-nonsense personality. Known for disliking politics and focusing purely on driving, Räikkönen felt increasingly constrained within McLaren's system. At the same time, McLaren's pursuit of reigning world champion Fernando Alonso created further tensions. Alonso's impending arrival signaled a clear shift in the team's priorities. Despite his success with McLaren, Räikkönen faced the prospect of being overshadowed and decided to explore other opportunities. Ferrari, however, seized the moment. They reportedly offered Räikkönen one of the most lucrative contracts in Formula 1 history. But it wasn't just about the money. Ferrari promised him the lead driver role, a chance to step into the shoes of Michael Schumacher and cement his legacy. Despite McLaren's structured environment, Ferrari's embrace of Räikkönen's straightforward style offered him the freedom he craved. By the end of the 2006 season, Kimi's move to Ferrari was confirmed, marking the end of his 5-year journey with McLaren. And before we move to Ferrari years, I think we need some Ferrari merch. FlatUp makes some of the coolest racing merch I've ever seen. Ferrari strategy, the red door, just an incident, or Kimi Raikkonen's famous "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing." All items are made from high-quality materials and delivered to your door within 5 days. Use the code REVVed and get 20% off your first order. Get your racing merch at FlatOut. Kimi Raikkonen replaced Schumacher for the 2007 season, joining Felipe Massa at Ferrari. This highly publicized move was a pivotal moment in Formula 1, marking a significant shift in Kimi's career and in the balance of power among top teams. The move proved transformative. While McLaren entered 2007 with Alonso and rookie Lewis Hamilton, their season was marred by internal strife. Raikkonen, however, thrived in Ferrari's competitive car. Kimi began his Ferrari career in style by winning the Australian Grand Prix from pole position, becoming the first Ferrari driver since Nigel Mansell in 1989 to win on their debut for the Scuderia. Fans started speculating whether he could emulate Schumacher by taking the title in his first year with the team. This also sent a strong message to his rivals who were driving for McLaren. After this blistering start, the season quickly became more challenging. Ferrari's F2007 car had pace, but McLaren was proving to be a formidable opponent, with Alonso and Hamilton delivering consistent results. And then, due to an electrical failure, Kimi retired from the Spanish Grand Prix and suffered disappointing results in Monaco and Canada, finishing 8th and 5th, respectively. Nevertheless, Kimi and Ferrari mounted a remarkable comeback in the second half of the season. Key victories at Manicourt, Silverstone, and Spa-Francorchamps reignited his campaign. At the French Grand Prix, he overtook teammate Felipe Massa during the pit stops to secure a commanding win, while his performance at Spa showcased his mastery of one of F1's most challenging circuits. Heading into the final race of the season in Brazil, Raikkonen was third in the standings, 7 points behind Hamilton and 3 behind Alonso. To win the title, he needed to win the race with his rivals finishing outside the top positions, an unlikely scenario. Yet, in one of the most dramatic finales in F1 history, Kimi delivered a flawless performance, aided by Ferrari's perfect strategy. Hamilton faced technical issues, and Alonso couldn't keep pace, allowing Kimi to clinch the race victory and the championship by a single point, crowning the 2007 world champion. Kimi's championship win was historic for several reasons, not mentioning his overall 6 wins, 12 podiums, and 3 pole positions that season. It marked Ferrari's first driver's title since Schumacher's in 2004 and remains their most recent to this day. Kimi also became the 3rd Finnish driver to win the World Championship, joining Keke Rosberg and Mika Häkkinen. However, the subsequent 2 years, 2008 and 2009, proved to be turbulent for the Iceman. The 2008 season started with strong momentum. Kim took victory in Malaysia, leading the championship early on. However, cracks began to appear as the season progressed. Kimi retired from the Canadian Grand Prix in bizarre circumstances, when Lewis Hamilton collided with him in the pit lane. While running in a strong position, a blown engine added to his frustrations later in Valencia. The defining feature of Kimi's 2008 season was his shift from being a championship frontrunner to a support role for his teammate Felipe Massa. After his victory in Malaysia, Kimi came close to winning the Belgian Grand Prix, where he led for much of the race. However, a late rain shower and a costly spin allowed Hamilton to overtake him. Despite these struggles, Kimi finished the season 3rd in the standings with 75 points, behind Massa and Hamilton. In the 2009 season, Ferrari's F60 car struggled to compete with the dominant Braun GP and Red Bull teams. Kimi endured several tough races early in the season, but managed to secure a brilliant victory at the Belgian Grand Prix, where Kimi claimed his only win of the season. He took advantage of Ferrari's superior KERS system to dominate at Spa, a circuit where he had historically performed very well. By the end of the year, Ferrari announced that Kimi would be leaving, despite having a contract for 2010. Ferrari reportedly paid him a significant sum to step aside, making room for Alonso. Despite his contributions, Raikkonen found himself at odds with the direction Ferrari was heading, leading him to question his future in Formula 1 altogether. His growing dissatisfaction with the politics and constraints of the sport reignited his desire for a new challenge, which eventually led him to the new disciplines, rallying and NASCAR, an arena that promised a stark contrast to the rigidity of Formula 1. In 2010, Kimi joined the World Rally Championship as part of the Citroën Junior team, which was then a solid player in the WRC scene. Rallying was a deliberate choice to step away from the spotlight and the politics of Formula 1. In interviews, Kimi expressed his desire to try something new and challenging, and rallying offered him an outlet to rekindle his passion for driving without the added pressures of constant media scrutiny. Unlike Formula 1, rallying required complete trust in his co-driver in the WRC, Kai Lindstrom, and the ability to process pace notes in real time, a difficult adjustment for a driver used to memorizing tracks. The Citroën was known for its dominance in rallying, spearheaded by Sebastian Loeb, who had won multiple world championships with the manufacturer. Although Räikkönen raced as part of the junior squad, the team provided him with competitive machinery in the form of the Citroën C4 WRC, which was one of the most capable cars of the time. Adapting to diverse surfaces like gravel, snow, and mud proved much more demanding than expected. Low grip conditions and technical stages often tested Räikkönen's limits, and his aggressive instincts from Formula 1 sometimes led to costly mistakes. Consistency, a critical factor in rallying, remained elusive for him. Despite the struggles, Räikkönen delivered a standout performance at the Rally of Turkey, finishing 5th overall. He competed in 12 of the 13 rallies that year, securing points in 5 events. In 2011, Kimi expanded his motorsport horizons by competing in NASCAR. NASCAR presented Kimi Raikkonen with entirely new challenges. The cars were heavier, with simpler suspension and less aerodynamic grip, vastly different from the precision of F1 and the adaptability needed in rallying. The oval tracks, high-speed drafting, and mechanical grip required a whole new skill set. Despite his limited oval experience, Kimi finished a respectable 15th in his Truck Series debut at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A week later, at the Nationwide Series, he started 22nd and fought through a pit lane penalty and damage, even reaching 9th at one point. However, financial and logistical difficulties soon hampered his NASCAR ambitions. The sponsorship deals fell through, making it impossible to secure a long-term program. Despite his growing interest in the series, balancing rally commitments and the NASCAR schedule proved too challenging. At the same time, an opportunity to return to F1 arose. Lotus, eager to rebuild and escape the intense politics of Ferrari and McLaren, offered Kimi a contract with a competitive car and more relaxed team environment. This set the stage for his remarkable comeback to Formula 1 with Lotus in 2012, one of the most successful comebacks in sports history. The 2012 season began with a 7th place finish in Australia after starting 17th on the grid, signaling that the Iceman was still a force to be reckoned with, scoring in 19 out of the 20 races. The highlight of 2012 came at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where Kimi secured his first win since 2009. After taking the lead early, he showcased remarkable composure and control to fend off his rivals. His iconic radio message, "Leave me alone, I know what to do," perfectly captured his independent spirit and no-nonsense attitude, becoming an instant classic among fans. By the end of the season, Kimi had amassed 207 points, finishing 3rd in the championship behind Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso. It was a phenomenal result for both the Finn and Lotus, especially considering the team hadn't won a race since 2008. The 2013 season began strongly for Kimi and Lotus, with a commanding victory in Australia. Kimi used a 2-stop strategy while most drivers opted for 3. This win put him in early contention for the championship. Kimi continued to deliver consistent results, securing 2nd place finishes in China and Bahrain. In Spain, Kimi managed his tires skillfully to earn another podium finish. However, the latter half of the season brought challenges. Financial issues with Lotus led to limited car development, and reports surfaced that Kimi's salary had gone unpaid for months. Despite these distractions, Kimi remained focused, with notable performances like his 2nd place finish in Korea. I know what I'm doing, so be quiet. In the final stretch of the season, Kimi decided to undergo back surgery, forcing him to miss the last 2 races. Although his campaign ended prematurely, he finished 5th with a total of 183 scores. Meanwhile, Ferrari struggled with the inconsistent F138 in the 2013 season. Fernando Alonso, despite his talent, couldn't lead the team to the title alone. Felipe Massa, still recovering from his 2009 accident, didn't meet expectations. Ferrari decided they needed a fresh approach, and Kimi Raikkonen, with his speed and experience, was the perfect choice to partner with Alonso. For Kimi, Ferrari offered stability and resources, a contrast to Lotus's financial struggles in 2013. His familiarity with the team eased his transition, though much had changed since his first stint, including leadership shifts. Raikkonen's return marked a significant change for Ferrari, one that raised as many questions as it answered. The 2014 season was marked by massive regulation changes. With the introduction of turbo hybrid engines, Ferrari struggled to adapt, and the F14T proved to be one of their least competitive cars in years. During a press conference ahead of the Japanese Grand Prix, Räikkönen expressed optimism, stating, "In Singapore, we finally had the speed to put together a quick single flying lap in qualifying, as the car behaved the way I'd been hoping for." However, the statistics told a different story. Despite his consistent speed and reputation, the season was one of his weakest, with 4th place in Belgium as his best result. The lack of strong finishes put increasing pressure on both him and Ferrari. In 2015, he made a stronger season compared to 2014. When Sebastian Vettel joined Ferrari in 2015, replacing Fernando Alonso, the team immediately shifted focus toward returning to the front of the grid. Vettel, with his 4 world championships, was seen as the key to Ferrari's revival. His arrival was accompanied by great expectations, and it was clear from the outset that he would be the team's #1 driver. For Kimi Raikkonen, this meant taking a secondary role once again. Ferrari's strategy revolved around Vettel's championship challenge, and Kimi often found himself in the back foot. Although he was still competitive, his results were inconsistent. He finished 4th in the standings, far behind Vettel, who was 2nd behind only the dominant Mercedes duo of Hamilton and Rosberg. Kimi returned to the podium with 2nd place in Bahrain and also secured finishes in Singapore and Abu Dhabi. At the end of the season, the team was in high spirits. Vettel's 3 victories and his challenge to Mercedes were seen as signs of what Ferrari could achieve in the future, but the clear disparity in results between the two teammates also confirmed Kimi's second driver status. The question remained, will the team evolve into a more balanced force or remain 100% Vettel-oriented? The 2016 season brought consistency but no wins and glory for Kimi. A highlight of the year was his strong performance at the Spanish Grand Prix, where he finished 2nd after a close battle with Max Verstappen. Despite often being close to Vettel's pace, he was still overshadowed, with team orders reinforcing his 2nd place status. By the end of the season, Kimi finished a distant 6th in the Drivers' Championship, while Vettel was 4th. Although the year lacked race wins, Raikkonen's ability to deliver strong results when needed was crucial in helping Ferrari to finish 3rd in the Constructors' Championship, a position they had struggled to hold in previous years. In 2017, Ferrari's SF70H allowed the team to fight for wins more consistently. Kimi played a supporting role in teammate Sebastian Vettel's title bid once again, consistently scoring points and occasionally stepping onto the podium. His best moment came in Monaco, where he secured his first pole position since 2008 and finished 2nd in the race. The results sparked debates about team orders, but Kimi remained professional, continuing to contribute to Ferrari's title bid. He finished the season 4th in the standings with 205 points, helping Ferrari to 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. The 2018 season was Kimi's strongest since his return. The SF71H was a strong car, and Kimi delivered consistent performances. His victory at the United States Grand Prix was a fitting highlight, his first win since 2013. It was also a moment of redemption after years of playing second fiddle to Sebastian Vettel, who had yet to win a title with Ferrari. All in all, Kimi secured 12 podiums, ending a 113-race winless streak, and finished 3rd in the driver's standings. However, behind the scenes, Ferrari had already decided to replace him with Charles Leclerc for 2019. The announcement came in September, marking the end of Kimi's Ferrari chapter. Despite his professionalism, many felt Kimi still had more to offer. As for Vettel, some wondered if he should have faced the same fate as Kimi. His leadership was undoubted, but his critical errors under pressure raised questions. Would Ferrari have been better off making a clean break with both veteran drivers and bringing in fresh talent earlier? I think that was absolutely the move, but Ferrari just didn't have the guts to do it. In 2019, Kimi joined Alfa Romeo, previously Sauber, the team where his Formula 1 journey began. While no longer in his prime, Kimi's experience was invaluable, especially as a mentor to Antonio Giovinazzi, a rookie in his first full F1 season. The season started on a high note. Kimi scored points in 4 of the first 5 races, including an impressive 7th place in Bahrain and 8th in Azerbaijan. However, Alfa Romeo lacked competitiveness. Although Räikkönen showed consistency and regularly scored points, the car was not up to the level of the frontrunners. Yet, as the season progressed, the team struggled with technical issues and a lack of pace, particularly on more challenging circuits. In the French Grand Prix, Kimi found himself battling in the midfield. And similarly, the same happened during the German Grand Prix. Despite Kimi's best efforts, he couldn't contend for higher positions. He finished the season with 43 points, placing 12th in the driver's standings. But this was a respectable result for a midfield team like Alfa Romeo. The 2020 year was challenging for Alfa. The C39 chassis and the reduced performance of the Ferrari power unit due to FIA's regulatory clarifications left Alfa Romeo struggling with one of the least powerful power units on the grid, particularly on tracks with long straights like Monza and Spa. Despite the challenges, Raikkonen's experience allowed him to extract the maximum from the car. A standout moment was at the Portuguese Grand Prix, where Kimi gained 10 positions in just a few corners on the first lap, showcasing his mad skill. He scored his final F1 points at the Mexican Grand Prix with an 8th place finish. The season was also marked by moments of humor and classic Kimi moments, such as the infamous comments about the drink tube during the Austrian GP.
Is the drink button on?
Yeah, it should be.
Kimi retired as the most experienced driver in Formula 1 history. His total to 1,873 points over 353 races and a record number of starts. However, life after Formula 1 hasn't slowed Kimi Raikkonen down. One of the most exciting chapters post-F1 for Kimi has been his foray into NASCAR in 2022. He competed in the NASCAR Cup Series, partnering with Trackhouse Racing under the new innovative Project 91 program. He made a splash at Watkins Glen. Despite an early retirement from the race after contact with a barrier, his performance throughout the weekend caught attention. Kimi has also been spotted acting as a mechanic for his son Robin, who is already making waves in the karting world. At just 9 years old, he clinched the Swiss Rodex Max Challenge Championship in the Micromax category, securing his spot in the International Karting Grand Finals in Italy. Kimi keeps it fun though, emphasizing enjoyment over pressure. Robin's growing skills, coupled with his ambition to follow his father's footsteps in Formula 1, hints at a thrilling future for him in motorsport. So how good is Kimi Raikkonen actually? I think he's just brilliant. Kimi's legacy isn't just about records or trophies, it's about the authenticity he brought to the sport and the example he set for drivers who prioritize a good time to all the political nonsense of F1. Known as the last of the old-school racers, Kimi is celebrated for his raw pace, fearless overtaking, and performances in underperforming cars. Off-track, his unfiltered radio messages, memorable one-liners kept everyone's spirits up.
Hey! Hey! Steering wheel, somebody tell him to give it to me. Come on! Whoa!
In a sport often dominated by corporate polish, Kimi was unapologetically himself, and that's what I love about it. I think that only Yuki Tsunoda comes close to Kimi's authenticity. Don't you agree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe.